be a shock to you. It's part of the game of football. Somebody will say coaches are hired to be fired. And the only thing I can say is that sometimes it pains if there has to be a separation. Other than that, it's for the good of the team and the game of football. Management felt that it had gotten to a point when it had to part ways with the coach because things are not going the way as expected. So we thought that it was time to part ways.
6 matches to go, still in the FA Cup. At the semi-finals with the game with Beckham Chelsea, management felt that there was no time for the coach to get things done, to turn things around, rather than the decision of sacking him.
Well, I didn't want to dwell much on performance, but you see, it's not just about the outcome of a match, but other factors also come to play. You say that we are just 6 points behind the league leaders, but it's not just 6. It's quite huge because we had been on top with just 1 point, 2 points, 1 point. At times, we were even on the same points with the second team, but you find that the performance was not all that delightful. In fact, in the last 2 or 3 games, it has been a disaster for us, conceding 5 goals in 2 matches against a struggling club like Accra Lions and even Nations FC. Last season we drew with them at their backyard, and many people even thought that their second goal was a bit controversial. So if you consider that as against this year's performance, you see that the team has been going down and we are not getting things right as expected. So even though there are other factors which I will find it difficult to put out, the key among them is the performance of the team. And it's about the technical direction. But if the team is not performing and management feels that we are doing our parts, Kotoko players, I can say without any ambiguity that they are the best, or they are the well motivated in the league. Somebody will say that it's debatable, but I do not think so. So we have done our best as management, and we thought that the signs will show on the pitch. So if Kotoko is behind the league leaders with 6 points, I don't think it's something refreshing that we can be proud of. We started so badly, and then things began to shape up. Now we are sinking. What would you expect? There's no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind about the competence of the coach. He's one of the good coaches we have in the system. But you see, at times in football, it will get to a point that things are not just working well for the technical team. If that happens, the best decision to me is to find a new technical team to take charge. So what we have done is never the case that the coach is no good. We believe that he has done all that he could. He has done his best. It's just that his best has not been enough. So it is only fair that we change the direction of the technical team. That is all that we are doing. He has put in every effort, but it is not just not working. And you all attest that this is not Kotoko. Fortunately or unfortunately, we gave him the free hand to recruit the players of his choice. So if the players are not performing and management is doing its part, I mean, the other stakeholders are doing our part. And it's become so clear that the whole thing is about performance. So if it's about performance, whose duty it is to improve the performance of the team? It is a technical team. And as I've indicated, it's not everything that can be disclosed. So we have considered all other factors and have come to the conclusion that it will be in the best interest of Kotoko and the coach himself that at this stage, he and his technical team has to go.
Eno Samuel Safu Duku Esquire Ochim Dientia as a prosper neti Ogum na management Ejan Kwai. Raf Akwaba.
Yeja.
Boko de Bibiadi dem.
Miadom.
Fantastic. Stivo. Mame Emma Akwaba. Boko de.
Bibi Yamiado. Bibi Boko.
Eda okesi nasi. Quickly. your first topic I share Asante Kotoko's decision to sack Prosper Nete Ogum after that 2-0 defeat Nations FC. 6 games to go in the league. They have 1 game in the FA Cup. If they win, another game in the FA Cup. Now Akwakwe 8. Ralph, I mean, say also. Bra, what is Kotoko management? I take a decision to sack Prosper Ogum. What was your first reaction to it? And then go into it deeper for me. Prosper, it deserved a sack. More demon forms are. Let's go into it. But your initial reaction when you first heard the news?
Football terms, wrong decision. In football terms, it's a wrong decision. Say, intense, he said, Becca 6 matches to go. Now, you sack your coach. Because normally, Becca's a guy, they are there to the end of the season. Now, you didn't take your decision going forward. So, in football terms, and yet, a wrong decision. However, your friend be the Kotoko percent omunya sa bounce back
New manager bounce
now yeah, normally it goes with the sacking of managers and appointment of a new manager. So if it works out, it could a bit to me but in the long term, you ask yourself, and working out one won't blame it. Be one of manager 6 matches to the end of the season. Now expecting some manager and magic. Intimate is a food you could say they are tasking the interim manager so won't deliver 2 trophies. No, I was surprised. I was surprised. So 6 matches to go, or fire a manager. The new manager, no, what task new manager and say Umbrana on deliver 2 trophies. Me say one in football terms. It doesn't look to me like a good decision.
So your initial reaction is that decision to sack Prosper Ogum with 6 matches to go.
Yeah.
In footballing terms.
Yeah, in footballing terms, it doesn't make
okay, now let's go in there. Kotoko's season, if you want to sum it up, and Kabiru Ebeboye Ewo page, so number of games are Prosper Abo, and Kotoko are competing for 84 points. Omo Ewo 47, Omo drop 37. Kotoko Eda 3rd on the league log. 13 wins, 8 drawn games, and 7 defeats in a season. You compare that to the 2 teams who leading, because Kotoko Elusu Top Sports, only Pando out of Lions, they almost share the same number of points. Will you say, a season, Nanka, Yenjai coach, and now say, we better have a rescue a season, for Kotoko. Now, if Kotoko every season we with the FA Cup win and a 3rd or 4th spot, a complete failure that you need to take this decision. Is it a knee-jerk decision? Is it something that
okay. So first, Kumasi Asante Kotoko so often in terms of the league, Kotoko compete with Gold Stars. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko compete with Nations on the basis of resources available to the clubs. And said the Kumasi Asante Kotoko should be ahead of these clubs on the basis of resources making available to a coach. Yes, let's establish this. That to whom much is given, much is expected. Prosper any nations goes stars born to say as a co-equal. For me, from my perspective, share investment in Real Kotoko team last season wrong decisions be a see now Prosper nya a total backing to overhaul the team or infuse it with experienced players. So we share their Gold Stars more year, their nations more year 1-man team nations. Any Gold Stars, yes, a corporate setup and all that, but Gold Stars and top how put it this way, highly accomplished players. Let's say what Kotoko would do with the lives of O'Neill and many others are Kotoko. That's not the strategy of Gold Stars. If you put that together and you look at it and you say your resources, what they can say, Kumasi Asante Kotoko should have done better. And also Kotoko are born in modern sunny dear Kotoko aye. And no one. on the basis of say obi reconstruct a team. Yemfa one season and reconstruct a team NG. Let's also establish that. Usually from that perspective, Abeka say any Nanka Prosper would need more time. Because the very moment Omujai say about 15, 16 players every team nunko for about almost like last season squad. This season squad a total shift. So ocean is now from the tactical point of view because any coach in Nanka Najuma or he was right on course because all my players now are all starting from front. Obviously, a bit take a bit of a time for them to gel and to completely produce results. So if you look at it from that perspective, say, reconstruct a team there. You have one season and reconstruct a team, and we need domestic double.
Sa exclusive interviewer, yani Kusiapia, Japanese Kusiapia. Okay, I say ordinarily, you cannot task a coach to win a title when it is that. Himself or two new players, but they want to win the cup and present it to Otumfo because supporter in 2 years Otumfo for their mom a massive. So that is why they will charge the coach to win. But not as a coach, and can you something that you must ask from a coach? Say, Unimziato entirely new players now Kabum now catches on Concoje trophy. And
that is football. In football, OSR you have not been realistic. Now, Kumasi Asanukono may be counting on the somewhat word require what had to folk. It take you over the season almost about to end. In fact, on the end now a bit of time kakra in terms of the 9 6 months. But at least within that particular season, or sweep every domestic trophy, it could happen. But and happens sana then ube take a retrospective view about views and say, was it a good decision? So when my coach resources, great. To whom matches is required. So on deliver. Why was I shout him say no? Me share the entirety of the team last season, the entirety of this team season. As a sankra, and he said, Obi yes, sir, you man now be sound say if or compete at the FA Cup front or compete in terms of the league, then it looks like the trajectory and answer or you're on course and your man is support no na on course one on your man. But also now ten now and say the wrong decisions of last season no player purchases are anchor you know. Why the initiative and outside a Prosper play key role in that? And a Prosper could now say a backing aside this team no. And you now beside say that such a person or deserve a lot more time to say or say team now or build the team now because on no and or in this and answer on no can be na structures na foundation na ya na was a Kotoko start another foundation this season. And Prosper for me that on no in the whole scheme of things, even though it doesn't make football sense, or Osaki coach 6 matches to go. No? But on one architect of this particular decision, anywhere they brought the team to. Mind you, this season, Kotoko started very well a win against Karela. A sort of honour. Kotoko konya sa results no from good run. And a Kotoko sa benya a nosedive, esa descended call, esa a retrogress. And a Kotoko sa bounce back. And a Kotoko side deteriorating in this particular season. Kotoko
four phases.
4 phases of a
very
team.
good starts.
And that shows
terrible 5 games be on boy. Omunya 1 point in 5.
Yes.
Or draw to Basake Holy Stars.
Yeah.
And a Legon City share. Plan out of finals by share. Bechem share. Nation share.
Yes.
In 15 possible points, Kotoko PK 1.
Yes.
Then Omo PK after that.
And
also called 9 games.
9 games.
I'll draw 1.
Or draw 1.
9 games or draw 1. People need the Akajina.
Yes.
And Okolusu or Nsuatre. And as I said, you bounce back 11 games, 5 wins, 4 drawn games, and 2 defeats.
Yes.
It's acquired 4 phases.
4 phases.
In 1 season.
That shows a certain lack of consistency. Now, who build the team at least also some level of consistency. But Kotoko go through 4 different phases in 1 season.
Yeah.
Now, for a manager now sit behind her, a manager or person or winning the supporters, a manager or person or drawing the supporters to the stadium, or be worried. So team they call up, down, up, down. Now they are hoping that with the last 6 matches they will bounce back up again. If Kotoko does that, not just say 5 different phases in the course of a team, it doesn't happen like that. And you're normal in terms of football sense. But so obviously the right person or the team bouncing back from a very low moment is our Prosper Kroya. Because what clearly said, team no go through difficult times. Only Mkwaya you first to guide the team never back. And now no Kroya side the team no kwa no asa until ubisa won say what is it that Prosper to me a permanent solution to sa lack of consistency and I say inconsistency akoko so no perform no so no perform no so no perform adena that same person no on to me a consistent performance and I say on to me a solution I bet me ama kotoko performance no I take some consistency at least this is how Kotoko is going. But put all that together, Kotoko supporters play a role in where Kotoko team media barbedry.
How do you?
Oh yeah. You see, in the last matches, Prosper care about commentaries.
Yeah.
Commentaries. Anyhow, and so. No, so on the at least what me manage, but players no money now they are matured enough to handle the commentaries.
And my question is, supporters need be now.
Yes.
No more Prosper out. You know, they started attacking the players. They say Prosper, but players no. I don't know how. Two boys
and any ordinary supporters who were doing that.
Of course,
these were
key supporters.
More
access to the team.
More access to the team.
More credit. The eyes of the ordinary supporter.
Where the and for me, Adia Bakwa, I'm Wakumasi Asante Kotoko. And this our role now, Kotoko supporters, decided say, Omobe take criticism to the media, and to be we announce a bloggers, Yachi supporter Bako, no the Nejina Hanamu, no run it, can someone, no publish it, no what you are, no can someone, no publish it. So that particular role now supporters play, you know. And Prosper was consistently worried about the way Akumasi Asante Kotoko supporters and supporters leadership support people with more say our supporters front on yes now players in Ake so the same players are more running or more down or my say my sem this or my say now a dear biona because the only thing you can do is always sacrifice in the course of the season. Supporters, players there, once again, just your boss season every and it will be very, very once again unsporting like. See a baby not 10, 15 players, Kotoko say Jao Mubio. No man say best start another print. Kotoko cycle nadia. Akwa a self-destruct button. Or more to me press the idea no accept circumstances in motion. Now the other to now we are now new my say okay. A common front be a Kotoko this season. I say, me better and muka say ya na Kumasi Asante Kotoko be corner. At that point in time, supporters, the management, the coach, one strong, solid front on the ball season. Anytime a Kotoko is doing well, and you realize that there's a one common factor, and I say supporters front nina united. The very moment all the faces now in it, the very moment. And you my best as yes say I can't boom. Now if we the afar we support we but one thing that Kotoko supporters ought to understand that in football it takes a united front to navigate difficult times. Sabre mo aye den no. Sabre no na ye stick it together. Nya sabre no and na we are away. Omo blame na blame omo blame we blame and the oh yes anyo man. The opposite ya say eventually the beba be see and the aba be see. Now going forward. At the end, there was a Kumasi Asante Kotoko. She said, the ABC, the NSC, Prosper is gone. Now, Kotoko has 6 matches. It looks to me that this particular that's a Kotoko person or more winning a trophy, and that is why Kotoko need a trophy ambition and can Prosper be stay. But the demands of the team, they say, even though almost starting, almost downplay, say, oh, when your trophy, your ability, the ABC, but along the line, Prosper ni players in na management in na budget to mu say afei dey was o deliver trophy. Till now in delivering the trophy and dey sa kwan o man fa so manage expectations no ama ne be yes afei dey was Kotoko trophy ko Africa and no na this level of responsibility about to team no so about to prosper so and na was a prosper taking the sacking or taking management taking decision on prosper but going forward meaning say kwasi apia pan knowledge in football. Kwasi apia as the current coach of the Sudanese national team and him say second 6 matches to the end of a season. Yempam coach.
Me da city one kasa wo hwehwe mu pinpoint bi no. Give me one reason why you think that decision was taken. Just one. Now main costivos.
One decision
just
why
one I think based on we Kotoko management officially say performance. Na nkoye. But who as an analyst, as an observer, you've followed this team season in the records are there with him. What do you say? What could have been that one thing that beyond nations leave it? Now 3-0 to Accra Lions. What could have been there?
This is my thinking. The management stands the risk. So mubenya the blame if they keep prosper and then your money and your be na season in the league na trophy bi ama management stands the risk and risk ne be say ye can say mom pamo prosper no man pamo prosper
okay
and I'm keep faith with him mon hwe de akwa akosie management ehwe trend na they feel say with 6 seasons to go something drastic ought to be done if a trophy never buy and I'm a risk that manager bounce back manager sacking syndrome my sacking manager ultimately benya a good some 3 wins some 4 wins no be now working in favor of them now I bet justify sad decision no but for me it looks like obi mpese obi take the blame into obi atie the user supporters mompam no and I feel you decided saying yeah let's go with that. Kwesiapia as I know would never take decision as a manager or a coach of a team on taking this decision.
But that's rough and maybe I'll be no say why you say na pressure that okay we've listened to the cry of the supporters. Me that's it. Steve fantastic. Young Asante Kotoko, I take a decision to part ways with Prosper Nete Ogum after 28 round of matches at the Kotoko at the 4th on the Ghana Premier League table, and we'll come to the subsequent appointment. The communications director officially Edin Chimu Abba Achrim the Emma Omo arrive at that decision. Mami, until what you feel about Bibia Akoso, especially with regards to Prosper leaving Asante Kotoko?
Yeah, baby, Medasi, I think, sir, the call for Coach Prosper, say, Onye Jumanu Ntua, and I say, on Tuasono, and this season, even during last season, there was a great cry for people, say, if you say it's not good enough for to be at the club in Tinka Onyano. But as you know, and they say what's on various management at some time at a certain point you need to take a decision. And that decision ube way to say yes Seraph okay. Kasane free bontain but the ripple effects possibly outcomes a bit in a free maba and then you decide on what you think is best. And lawyer Kassan will say it's not about performance and very important, but Australia BB say in the last 2 games, cover 5 goals, which to me in that contest, something that is embarrassing. 5 goals without reply, highly embarrassing. And Osha time, Krana in the first round, a similar thing happened. Osha the goal concession rate na and shada any rosa. So Seraph started the perfectly. Say, "O started ye na so ko na sa ba now sa apejo muso." Maybe management feels that a games are for coach to turn things around as or earlier in the season. A games in a few. Therefore, the decision to let him go because okay first round and Yoma call Chono. I think there were a couple of games even in the first round, na unya the time to change things. But I'll share the number of games I can. Possibly the thinking is that games in this one, even though you believe it's a why be in the first round, but taking a gamble for him to turn it around with the few games that I can, and so baby a potential banana skin tea. I didn't know you taking options. Into I feel say they weigh their options and no more arrive say this will be the best way out for the club. Senior Serafa Kana. It happens all over the world. Say anytime manager Bibe Jana Jumano, all of a sudden there's this great strength, motivation from wherever but all of a sudden players say more perform to levels, mainly because I think a players person prove to the new manager said they are capable in the scheme or person or the year Jumano next season. You know, they are justifying the cause. They would want to be part of it. Into AD performance in a way, but and only AD performance now. You look at games now, Kano, and the trend possibly where omo lead you no to me a 4 shots. Now what me I take that chance was seizing on that chance no at the Akoni. And the games are big games. This season minimum if you know trans year no you know fixtures no, but this season we had a number of big games at Kotoko bought was one. The rate of it no games in the heading. And this season one thing is why I feel say ensure them why the time in between matches no, which days in a very few considering the travel times near then until a lot of time for them to just recover. But
to come and play.
Osha games now. I think that Accra Lions the game and you expect say it just have to be a dress rehearsal before Kotoko.
Yes, Kotoko were expected to win the 3
but
points.
we do free war. Nations FC aside that Kotoko and share that.
Yes.
We in free our boy Diana Stars. Now call House of Folk. Over Mediama. Over Dreams FC.
Maybe any good stars.
Be any good stars. Into share games and baby a winner. And my issue here very critical.
But what him say, Ralph, surprisingly, this year I may check it. Kotoko a bad run of form no. You could see say Anna Kotoko got 10, Prosper got 10 with Adriana so.
Yes.
And Adriana were the next team and one level.
Yes,
Nations share Kotoko you know.
Yes.
And
I
of course Adriana.
don't see a 2-0.
And was starting say 2-0. I don't say Adriana 2. No abe show, I know abe show.
Pepe, but
come here say the same team now. On the born last game first round na 9 years. Sana Adriana sa 10 BC.
Me there personally, me feel say I got 6 games.
Yes, 6 games.
But if not for points FNA award which any council here because okay far ranges issue now.
Mekaiba.
Eba mo know all the intimi nim nienti at this time around no FNA decided so award
Omo ko change him ran after say normalization committee hand over mran ma omo.
Yes.
Ne wo mu say will be withdraw yes sponge points. You see the new rules no omo empower the ESCO with the powers to make changes to the rules. You know ma equatrans no we changes say will be jaibo yeah award 3.3 goals yeah mfanche enti as we speak the sana mran say as here the cheche but obi anim say the spirit of fairness and competition doesn't support this.
Yeah,
3.3 goals.
How many teams that share 3 goals in Ghana? So
league we probably should be 3 days.
3 should be 3. And then they are not. So Pepe, share decision they are clearly a say management are under pressure and they need to react. And what is the best way? Send us a Ralph Okano. What me can say? Baby Adri, Ubejo play be out can say for from a shame normal performing.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And the who know football, the normal practice are you who say be manager and entrenching. Let's see, say a new face, you know, a new voice, you know, possibly ever turning the fortunes of the club, especially when Osha say Kotoko are still in the hand for a trophy this season.
The FA Cup.
And
Yes.
a possible pa. And if your league in a conf fair here means and I say intense that you're fair officiating. Yeah, born fair they are. And your league and get done. Ghana league na mimi send ye tieno. Say you're born fair, which and yes ada. Nanka when you be done because a lot of the teams can't perform.
Mami Musawe, is it that now you're discussing because fans' expectation, you know, over and above the roof because Gold Stars struggled to beat Mediema.
Yeah.
And come first share Mediema no. Mediema official background for say wako bunch of me sisi na bono mko boy. Bi da first penalty na keeper na cheno. Omu nima de crazy ya refugee penalty second one the same thing. But omu wini ya no penalty obi ani je. But Kumasi na Kotoko struggle ya only did not share one. Still supporters no they omu bube fu say any e born nya fe ne bre because Ghost has born enya fe hu za. But omu ye happy. Nations season shows your home performance that the supporters enya happy. But once omu nya sa Kotoko no obi are happy but Kotoko that's no. Now supporters enya happy. And expectation na too much e Kotoko. And I say how do we manage that because me sure say a part of the reasons are say do baby now supporters be no more decide say coach na nkwa see one pay because be club na yemo. What could account for that? Because Ghost has struggled to win 1-0 and the entire Adiache Monday holiday na ye nije okromo bebrebe.
Perhaps we know we say.
No, that's the way I have some because Kotoko no struggle sha na bufu aba. But obi o ka bi o struggle sha na nije aba. Minimum the crowd.
But surprisingly we say sa ebufuo ne nneoma a oka ne nyina a VIP session open na wo.
Ah, you point chire no.
Because we call green stands, call yellow stands. Now call red stands ya shy. 3 points there bepe. But surprisingly we call VIP e ho no do na ye free. E ho na. That is where unya former players ni bi time ye mo say all time no na bele say bi e simple and answer teku. Ene entesa. A lot has changed.
Last week, drawn by a lot of them, no more granting interviews. Now you could see they were ready to talk. But I asked one question, say, as a destabilizing team, Yana, was it WWE?
Pepe, oh, you're a Madrid fan, but oh, you're very honest and sincere. In the last 3 years, Madrid are not the best team in the world in terms of game. But they always find a way to win. To
win the Champions League. Yes. The best club.
Winning ugly. The end game of football is winning. But anytime, Anamakase, you see, because Aya Kotoko, even between Kotoko and has a cry, the sort of media attention at Kotoko Unyana, other clubs in Nyabi.
Yeah.
So when it is that, oh, Kotoko is a top player, be your friend, Mamia Yusu, Mia Minipa, Patrick Esidu. Wait, yes, a ball, say, which ball, no, dear Patrick in Bop. And I say, even in team menu.
Yeah.
Be a nipana or tier the radio presenter can Ghana Hano. Apart from Kotoko will be bo. A lot of our media people, they don't follow a lot of the teams and players unless they are playing Kotoko or Has. It is Obenya fine game will be a Nasa Tisse a link to Kotoko. But we were better unze na I raise a certain I painted a certain picture in the minds of people. Say, "Akwe did am obey." And Stephen Odro reincarnated.
Yeah.
And over. And away, your Tony say, "You see, and yes, I net players in the view of what is in team menu. Say, and Penifua mo many anya dear. Katim be in last season, Crofuano, Epamo. Even this season." The guy has been by far the best player who is somebody, your friend said, Esiedua. He's by far the best player in the team.
He's the most improved player in our league.
But still, among forward the narrative say, any prosper player. Na me tia na emsre.
Nano ba ko na me kon pa say unya sa sabe was catch the mean say hunu say and team no na me say team no different team ka say dem besi agire ho kuro yi
Pepe me say
ball akwara na body e dey ball
and ema we enya me
say ko different team and ka fi say dem besi agire ho say best player of the season
in team men no say you two away team ni mu a anka we can decide to play only one center back in the game.
A lot of passion, a lot
because
of work
rate. Energy, the work rate ni bibiano. E super, but yet the chromo ha we beti maka say oh, pepe swar ohun da, ohun pecha da. We power pe ma we yes power pe onimu o, but obi aka sa asem no. atoni trim no this onimo da. But that is idea show mu trim. That is one of the reasons ye Kotoko ne bread. So in menu perform very well. So send our cano people failing to appreciate say enema sesa.
Yeah.
Inti young guy ye team no true. Send a bear.
Now ye Julia ye didn't come out them.
Ye didn't come out. But Kotoko supporter no enim sa. Boys in a train phone see anymore. But the aya me say, Pepe, if you have access to me,
now
come on,
baby.
Now what me once a man. Now you baby can. How do you then approach me again? Said you what say and whether say you no cre and answer you no cre. Oh, my number. Oh, frame me a me fa. Unim baby obey me. Then you go.
Wako
camera and say, and a team you ball lay out move boy. Wow, sir. Coach, no friend of fat, nana pin ground friend of a fat. Akoto yeah admi. Ubeti me Asiano. So those things what and then sometimes I am not manage has supporters okakra. Omo found how dirty at the end of the year. Once they are winning, no matter what, said deflecting in a question say yeah day. But they had it here. Obeji Brian analysis, yen supporters are even Real Madrid. Omo yeah the world's greatest football club ever.
Vavadi Bobo na vini kwa kaje za bono se di Liverpool si bo sada no se na Rafi hope is Liverpool be shegu a bono antone
sa game ni de ni ewiemu fo because he tani e di free league ni mu eba
na nya agro kra sa match
money na bonai obona akwa reference na sa player da o be retire pa me ni pa sa goalkeeper
Steve Obi da se ye ba de second discussion no aba